Let's talk about our new cask finish.
All right, where do we start?
Let's go with, how do you pronounce this whiskey?
Yeah, well, the correct pronunciation is Tokai. It's a Hungarian word. However, I had been pronouncing it Tokaji because it's spelled Tokaji. I thought it was a Japanese style barrel.
Okay.
And I was soundly corrected. So Tokai is the proper pronunciation.
Tokai.
Tokai.
Perfect. All right. So before we dive into the Tokai, can you tell me a little bit about the core base whiskey before it ends up in the finishing barrel?
Sure. So at Old Line, we focus on producing American Single Malt whiskey, which is distinct from other American styles of whiskey in that the only grain that we use to make our whiskey is malted barley.
Okay.
Most American style whiskeys will be based with corn or rye or wheat or things like that are just more commonly used here. Our grain style is more old world, similar to what single malt Scotch would use. But aside from that, pretty much everything we do here is very new world in style, and which is reflected in the taste and the profile of the whiskey.
When you say new world, does that mean similar to, say, a bourbon or a rye?
It is, yes, the components of the process that I'm referring to absolutely would be very similar to the way they make a bourbon and a rye. So like the big distinction, like we just said, is that we use only malted barley, which really gives us a beautiful layer of toffee notes and cocoa and things like that are really distinct and show well in our product. The things that we get from aging our product the way you'd age a bourbon, which is in a virgin oak, first-time use, charred American oak barrel. The things we get from that will be things like baking spice and caramel and vanilla notes and these wonderful things that you will find in a lot of bourbons and American ryes. And those things all come together to give us a wonderful product that takes the parts that we like best about single malt Scotch and the parts that we like the best about bourbon and really marries those two things together into one product.
And what we're talking about right now, that's our flagship American Single Malt?
Correct.
At 95 proof.
Yep.
And then the same base whiskey there is used in our Navy Strength American Single Malt at 114 proof.
Correct.
So we'll dive into Navy Strength because that's a really big part of Old Line story, but we'll save that for a different video. Let's talk about that Tokai cask specifically. Why did you and Arch decide to go with that Tokai finish?
So Tokai is, I forget exactly when it hit our radar screen, but we started hearing a bit more about it in the past couple of years. Originally, at least I thought it was a Japanese wood because of the name.
Same
right?
here.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it would be, or at least it's written as such, that it looks like it would be. And as we just investigated out of curiosity, we discovered more about it. And what Tokai is a Hungarian sweet, late season white dessert wine.
Okay.
Which in and of itself sounds really appealing. The sugar content, the acidity, things like that can be really, really nice for finishing a whiskey. The other thing that drew us in is that as we learned more about it, we realized it was very similar in many ways to another finish we've done in the past, which is a French white dessert wine called Sauterne.
Sauterne's cask.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. So that was one of our favorites, and we just really, really were thrilled with the quality of our Sauterne finish. So the Tokai being in that same realm was really, really exciting to us.
Okay. And when I was doing my research, I know that there's something that makes the Tokai special and sought after. It's something about the way that the grapes stay on the vine a little bit longer, have a noble rot.
Yes. So to your point, they stay on their late season harvest, so they stay on the vine longer. And in addition to that, there's a type of fungus called botrytis that they encourage to grow on certain grapes, including these grapes that go into making the Tokai. And what that fungus does is it starts to actually rot the grape, which sounds bad. But in reality, what it does in this case is it creates these microscopic lesions in the skin of the grape, which causes the remaining residual moisture inside the grape to start to evaporate away, and it just concentrates all these sugars. So as it's been described to me, if you were to take a bite of one of these grapes off the vine late in the season, it would almost taste like a candied grape. It's so intensely, the flavors are just so concentrated, and it makes a wonderful dessert wine. So the wine itself is going to be very, very rich, very sweet, full-bodied, great mouthfeel. So it's really special.
Great. So we put our whiskey in that Tokai cask. How long did it stay in that cask for before we pulled it out the bottle?
In this case, 8 months.
Okay.
Tokai.
And is that typical for our cask finishes?
Yeah, it certainly falls within the range of typical. I'd say in the world of whiskey, I think 6 to 12 months is probably where a good portion of finishes will land. because like we touched upon earlier, we're not really trying to do much more in the finishing period than really just coax out the residual flavors. Whereas the primary aging, that requires years of temperature changes, pressure changes, fresh oxygen getting in the barrel. That takes longer. This is a shorter process. We've done finishes as short as 3 months. Sometimes they go as long as 2 years, but this one, 8 months, just nailed it.
Okay. So on the bottle here, I'm seeing that we put our primary aging and our secondary aging on the back, in addition to the other production details. Can you talk a little bit about why we add those details to our label?
Sure. So in the past, as you probably remember, we used to do things like have that, 3 or 4 sentence blurb on the back. And it got to the point where we figured we'd much rather just share the production info on the back because it's interesting. That's what we would want to see. Picking up a bottle of whiskey or wine or whatever, it's nice just to see, hey, what went into making this? And that we found that to be more interesting to us. And that's been confirmed by a lot of our consumers that it's more interesting to them to just see, hey, what went into making this product and what details, that we're happy to share. So like you said, it's the mash bill, the how long it was in the each barrel, entry proof, exit proof. So it's a very good way to engage with our customers. They can understand the product better.
Absolutely. So we talked about our base whiskey and we talked about the whiskey in the finishing barrel. But now let's say someone gets their hands on a bottle of the Tokai finish, pours it in their glass. What can they expect?
So our goal with the Double Oak series is to take that wonderful profile that we've built from the primary aging, the things that we mentioned, like the cocos and the baking spice notes and toffee and those wonderful flavors. And we don't want to cover them up. We want to add to them. With the Tokai, what that contributes to the product is going to be maybe a light touch of acidity, notes of maybe melon. The sweetness to me comes across kind of like almost like a honey sweetness, which really does well with the baseline. Like for example, is that I think for me, I get a good amount of like dark chocolate covered cherry in our baseline product. And the lighter fruit notes really just add a really nice element of more complexity than was there in the beginning. It really is special. It's really nice.
Can you tell me a bit about why we went with 100 proof for the Tokai cask finish?
Yeah, so the proof of any spirit is really important. It's going to have a big effect on how the consumer experiences it. That can be anything ranging from higher proof, you might get a little bit more burn. A lower proof can be very, very approachable. But there's a trade-off for all of those things. Higher proof, you might get a little bit more burn, but you get a lot more flavor and complexity. Lower proof might be a little bit more approachable, but it can sometimes to some people feel like it's been watered down a bit. So finding that balance to where we think the product shines really, really well and also can appeal to a decently wide range of consumers is important to us. 100 proof nails it. 100 proof is certainly strong enough to really keep the complexity that we want to have in all of our whiskeys, but not so strong that if you're a relative newcomer to whiskey that you might find it off-putting. We certainly do things that are stronger. Our Navy Strength 114, we do some barrel strength things, and those are great, but those often speak to a slightly, maybe more of a whiskey aficionado crowd, whereas we want our Double Oak series to appeal to that crowd as well as a more casual consumer who's maybe learning about whiskey.
Great. So at 100 proof, this whiskey, how do you like to drink it?
So I often will drink our 100 proof stuff just as is, neat in the glass. Like we said, it's very, very approachable. My big thing, and I think probably most of us here at Old Line, our big thing is drink it how you like it, right? It's your product and however you like, there's no wrong way to do it. But for this, I'd often drink it neat. I haven't made any cocktails with it yet, but one cocktail that I am very interested in trying with this is a Perfect Manhattan.
Okay.
I didn't know what a Perfect Manhattan was until a couple of years ago when a friend of mine came to the bar and I was poorly bartending and he asked for a Perfect Manhattan. I'm like, all right, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
It's like, no. So a Perfect Manhattan, instead of being a mixture of whiskey and sweet vermouth and some bitters, it's a sweet vermouth and dry vermouth.
Okay.
So the reason I say that I think this could do really well is that little bit of extra sweetness that comes across from the Tokai and that really kind of summer type fruit, I just think would do really, really well in a Perfect Manhattan.
Ah, perfect.
So I'm going to probably give that a try this weekend.
Yeah, I might try one right after we're done recording.
I love it.
So if you want to get a bottle of this Tokai cask finish, you can find it here at the distillery. Where else can people find it?
To your point, you can get it here at the distillery while supplies last. It is a limited release. We also shipped a limited amount to our local distributor. So certain select accounts in the Maryland, DC, Delaware area may have it. Call ahead and ask. If they don't have it, they might be able to order it if the distributor still has some. And we also have an e-commerce capability. You can go right to our website, oldlinespirits.com, and buy a bottle, and we can ship to 42 states. So it's really, if you're watching this video, most likely you can get a bottle delivered to you. So it's a wonderful option if you're not local.
Yeah, and the other cool thing that we do is if you pick up any 3 bottles, you'll get free shipping on that order. So you can mix and match. You could do a Tokai cask, you could do our flagship, and try one of our sherry casks also. We're really excited about sharing this release with you. We're extremely happy with the way the Tokai cask turned out, and we hope you can find a bottle and enjoy one for yourself.
Yeah, and if you're not in the local area, you find a bottle on e-com, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, send us a message, let us know what you think. We love feedback and hearing what people think of our stuff.